Hello and welcome to my channel. I did this video, but it didn't have any sound, so here I am doing it again. Okay, I did a video recently about Ann Marie Burr, and I had gone to these different websites, and I had seen where people didn't agree, and some of them didn't agree, and they would put the other person down that they didn't agree with, because some of them felt like Ted Bundy was a normal 14-year-old boy who couldn't have killed anybody at the age of 14. So they think that just because he was delivering newspapers in her neighborhood and he lived 3 miles away and he had a favorite uncle or great uncle that lived close to her that he might have spent a lot of time at, especially if he's delivering newspapers in her neighborhood and he has a bicycle, that it's just a coincidence. But being 14, he wasn't capable of murder at the age of 14. While other people believe that Ted Bundy was quite capable of murder at the age of 14. So let's look at Ted Bundy at the age of 3. At the age of 3 years old, he's standing next to his aunt's bed grinning. After he placed knives in her bed, all the knives pointing to her. And I want you to see that you can find this with other timelines. They're at the Department of Psychology, Radford University, and he teaches classes, and they're summarized and researched by different people so that you can see who did this research. But at the age of 3, here he is, around his aunt's bed, grinning after he placed the knives in her bed, pointing at her, it says. And I'm not sure if it was his aunt or his grandmother, but it says his aunt. So, she's probably terrified, and he's grinning. And because he thinks that's cool, right? And here we have Mary Bell. So this is what I want to tell you. I want to tell you that if you've been abused as a child, whether it's verbal abuse, sexual abuse, physical abuse, day after day, year after year, of course you could kill people by the age of 14, maybe, depending on how much you can take, because your mind can only take so much. You have to imagine if you're born into a family and nobody wants you and nobody loves you and you're getting yelled and screamed at and belittled all the time, maybe hit, maybe you're being beaten almost every day and you don't even know what you did wrong. Maybe your parents get a divorce and your mother is just, maybe they're starving you to death. Maybe they have plenty of money and plenty of food, but they're putting lines on the food and they don't let you eat any of it. And they limit you to tiny bits of food because they feel like you deserve this. Maybe you're a little boy or a little girl and your mother hates your dad and your dad doesn't live there, but she's constantly telling you how she hates you because you remind her of your dad, and she wishes he was dead and he deserves to be dead. Maybe she's telling you every day that you're so ugly and always calling you ugly and just being so mean to you. Maybe they watch TV, but they don't allow you to watch TV. Maybe if you find something to do, even if you're able to get a hold of a deck of cards where you can sit in your room quietly and play solitaire, maybe if they come in and catch you, they'll take the cards away because they're that mean to you. Maybe whether you're a boy or a girl, maybe your mother leaves you alone with a guy, and maybe you're sexually abused. Maybe you cry because you don't get anything for your birthday or for Christmas, and they yell at you and tell you that you're worthless and you deserve nothing, especially after crying because you didn't get anything. And how terrible. And they find ways to constantly put you down. So you have no love. And every day you cry yourself to sleep because you're treated so badly. And so that over time you feel like you want to kill yourself. And then you start thinking about killing them because you want them dead because they're abusing you. But maybe you decide instead you start thinking and fantasizing about killing other people so that the fantasies become a reality and you decide to take action and you decide to kill people. At what age do you think this happens? At what age will you think this would happen? You know, it depends. Do you think it depends on how stable your mind is? How stable can your mind be if you have no love and you're abused every single day, all day long, all day, every day, year after year? What do you think's going to happen? This girl, she's 11 years old. 11 years old. But she killed him when she was 10. 10 years old. She informed the victims that they had a sore throat, and then she would massage their throat, and then she would strangle them to death. And she had an accomplice who was 13 years old and acquitted. So she killed 2 people when she was 10 years old, and then she was put on trial when she was 11. I don't know what she went through, but she was able to kill people at the age of 10. And then we have this young man. And he was beaten every day. I don't know if it's true, but I read that he was beaten every day with a dog whip. Not a dog whip, horse whip. I'm sorry. He was beaten every day with a horse whip. I know somebody who was beaten every day with a dog leash, so I automatically went to dog leash. But he was beaten every day with a horse whip. So he started murdering people at a young age. Let's see, he was born in 1859, and then in 1871, there were reports that several young boys were individually enticed to remote areas and attacked by a slightly older boy, but no one was ever arrested. There were extreme amount of brutality used in the assailant. The boys were beaten with a fist, a belt, and a knife. Some of the boys were physically scarred permanently. So then they moved away, and the attacks continued. He was finally arrested, and then he's at the age of 14, he was paroled back to his mother and his brother. His mother ran a dressmaking shop. A 10-year-old girl named Katie Curran went missing. So he's 14 and she's 10 years old. And her mutilated body was found. Wait a minute. Her body was found in his mother's dress shop in the basement, carelessly concealed in an ash heap. And then there was a 4-year-old boy, Horace Millen, was found on the marsh on Dorchester Bay. So the police go looking for him immediately, thinking that this 14-year-old boy is killing them. Right? So he's 14 years old. And then we have this young man, and he was 15, and he killed on Christmas Day. On Christmas Day, at the age of 15, he murdered his paternal grandparents. So then he was diagnosed with schizophrenia. He was released at the age of 21 after convincing psychiatrists he was rehabilitated and regarded as non-threatening. So then he targeted young female hitchhikers during his killing spree, luring them into his vehicle, driving them to secluded areas where he would murder them before taking their corpses back to his home to be decapitated, dismembered, and violated. So he was killing people. And yes, you might have some people that are abused, that don't hurt people, that don't kill people. They might feel like they were abused, so they don't want other people to suffer. This shows you young killers. This is how old they were at the time that they were killing people. And I think this is how many people they killed. So at the time of killing, some of them did it at the age of 3 years old. So I don't know if it was an accident or what happened. Some of them weren't arrested. But then you can see that here's a 7-year-old who was arrested and charged with murder. Here's a 6-year-old arrested and charged. So I think that some of these killers seem so nice and so sweet because some of them, because they've been abused, have this nice and sweet side. But some of them just want to appear normal. They want to seem normal. They do things because they're planning on killing people. They want to appear harmless. Otherwise, they're not going to be able to commit murder. They can't let you know that they're a bad person and that they're going to kill you, so they go out of their way to seem like a nice and a sweet person when they're not. And you might have people who've been abused so bad that are nice and kind and overly generous to other people because of their abuse. But then you have those that, you just can't take no more. That's why I think that, imagine if you're abused all day, every day at home. You have no love. All you have is abuse. And then if you go to school, and if you have no friends, and you're bullied, and you're further abused, I wonder what what would that do to you? So then you see these people, they're all under 13, 14, 10-year-olds killing people. So, yes, I would imagine that he was not a normal 14-year-old boy that wasn't capable of murder. I don't know if he murdered that girl, and this says ages 13 to 17, and it lists people and the age that they killed, and it talks about what happened to them, if they were charged, how many years they were sentenced to, how many people they killed, if they had other people helping them. Some were boys, some were girls. So I just feel like that I should have mentioned that I feel like when people believe that Ted Bundy, who was delivering newspapers in her neighborhood, she might have been his first victim, that he might have killed her, I understand why they think that. Because he wasn't. At the age of 3, he's already doing this. I don't think he was a normal. And he was suspected of burglaries as a teenager between the ages of 11 and 17. And later, he admits that he's been stealing regularly. So has he already been breaking into houses when he's suspected between ages of 11 and 17? So maybe he's already peeking in the windows. And they had a problem with somebody going around peeking in the windows. And then she was up in the middle of the night one night, and somebody had been peeking in the windows. So it could have been Ted Bundy. It could have been. So I would, whoever the lady was who said she thought Ted Bundy killed her and that this girl was his first victim, I wouldn't judge her too harshly for saying that, because I think he was later peeking in windows. And I think it's quite possible, because I think there were apples growing, apple trees. I don't know if they were in her driveway or at the end of the road. And at some point it mentions that he had talked about killing somebody in an apple orchard in a third person, like he heard it somewhere. And I wonder if that has to do with the apple trees in our neighborhood. And people say that he was taking credit for murders he didn't commit. And some of them, they believe that he was lying about. Some people believed he was that serial killers, and that he was a pathological liar, and other people believe he was honest. But he's a serial killer. Are you going to believe a serial killer? I mean, that's what, I know people who know other people who have ripped people off, and they do bad things to get money, and they feel like they're honest and good persons. They feel like they're honest people. But I know they lie like crazy, because I know them personally and I know the lies. So I hear these things and I think, is a serial killer going to be an honest person? I don't think so. I don't know that I would believe him. So I believe it's highly possible that he took credit for all kinds of I don't know how many, but I think it's highly possible that he took credit for murders he didn't commit, and that's why he didn't know where the bodies were. I also think it's possible that he killed people that he never admitted to, and that he said he never killed them when he did. So I think it's highly possible that he killed her. But the other guy that committed suicide, he could have been the one that killed her too. I'm just saying, this is my opinion. So I'm giving you my opinion, and I'm giving you the reasons for my opinion. So please feel free to leave comments and let me know what you think. Anyway, don't forget to pray for people, their loved ones, their families. Go out and do something nice for somebody today. Check on your neighbors, see if they're okay, see if they need anything. Volunteer your time. Try to help people, because there's so much bad and there's so much evil in the world. So we have to put out some good and try not, we get so angry sometimes and it comes out. We try not to let the anger out, but it comes out in these words that we shouldn't speak. And then with the internet, it's so easy to let these harsh words out. And the texting and things like that. So try to go out and show kindness and to show love, because it's like a domino effect. Whatever you put out, whether you put out anger or you put out love, it's going to fall like dominoes and carry on. So try to put out kindness. Anyway, thank you so much for tuning in. Please feel free to leave comments and have a great day. Bye-bye.